What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of, I'm not even exactly sure. I don't even think I'm going to do episodes because I'm going to try to do this nightly. I'm not even sure what I'm going to call this. I don't know what the hell. The Golden Hour with GS, damn it. So this is basically where I want to just go on ahead and just talk about, sports and things happening in the sports world, as well as what's happening in the real world. So sit back, do some solo challenges, do your homework, whatever it is you want to do. Sit back, relax, and let's have a conversation. So first off, we're going to start with the big news of Tim Tebow hitting a home run in his first ever official at-bats today in the Mets organization. Now, as a Mets fan, you guys know I was definitely excited when he decided to go on ahead and sign with us. So, Tim Tebow is the epitome of never give up. The epitome of don't give up on your dreams. The epitome of when people tell you you can't do something, you're going to find a way to do it and prove them wrong. Now, in the NFL, Tim Tebow is pretty much blackballed from, having an opportunity to play due to him not being your typical pocket passer or your mobile guy who can even pass for the most part. They had issue with the throwing mechanic, saying he was very inaccurate, saying that he's just really just can't pass the ball consistently how an NFL quarterback should. The one time he became a starter, he took over. If I'm wrong, let me know about it. But I believe he took over a 1-3, 1-4 Denver Broncos team when he came in to start, and he led them to the playoffs. Even won first round against the Steelers, which was an incredible game in overtime. First play overtime, ends up hitting, was it Demaryius Thomas, I believe? Now, to me, a quarterback like Tim Tebow isn't going to light up the stat sheet. He's not going to sit there and throw for 345 yards like Drew Brees or Tom Brady. He's not going to sit there and throw for 45 touchdowns. He's not going to sit there and just completely obliterate you through the air. But the man wins games. I thought it was disgusting that he didn't get a true opportunity to be an NFL quarterback. The fact is, he wins games. Yeah, he doesn't do it pretty, but he wins games. Look at Vince Young, another guy who was outcasted. Vince Young was winning games. Yeah, he wasn't the best quarterback, but the man was out there winning games. And Tim Tebow refused to play another position. I believe, was it the Patriots? Once he didn't work things out with the Broncos, because John Elway just really wanted no parts of him. Then they bring in Peyton Manning, and Tim Tebow tried to get back in the league. I believe he tried out for, the Eagles and the Patriots, and I believe they want to convert him into a fullback, but or a tight end, I believe. But he wanted to stay a quarterback. That's what he ended up, being recruited for out of college, as a quarterback. He made the NFL as a quarterback, and he doesn't want anybody to, he'll work on some things, but, he wants to remain that position, and nobody wanted to give him another opportunity. To me, it's heartbreaking. It's disgusting to know that you're going to battle your way in a complete losing season. They only started Tim Tebow just because, it was pretty much a losing season. Let's just see what Tebow got. Let's throw him in the fire. Let's see what the kid got. Crowd, he's a fan favorite. Crowd is asking for him. Let's just throw him in there. Just get it over with. He's probably going to do terrible. Next thing you know, they start winning games. Next thing you know, they make it to the playoffs. Next thing you know, they beat one of the toughest teams in the NFL. And he doesn't get another opportunity after that? I don't care if my quarterback goes 11 for 33 every game. If they're winning, I don't care. I could care less as long as we're winning games. And this man is a proven winner. He is proven that if he is at the helm of your huddle, he's going to win games. He's proven that in college. He's proven that in the NFL. He just can't get an opportunity. So, nonetheless, after missing a year or two from football because no team wanted to deal with him as a quarterback, he goes on ahead and wants to become a professional baseball player. Now, this is different from other athletes that have went from football into another sport, or basketball or another sport. First person comes to mind mainly is Michael Jordan. He was the most popular player to ever attempt it, right? He goes on ahead, he retires from basketball, his father passes away, and he wants to give baseball a shot because his father loved baseball, and, he wants to go on ahead and give it a shot, and he does terrible. I think Jordan was a career 202 hitter or something disgusting like that. The thing with Tebow is that he was recruited out of high school as an all pro baseball player as well. I think he batted something crazy, like 540 or something like that in his senior year, or something crazy. The man has ridiculous stats. Ridiculous. It was crazy at the amount of stats he was able to put up in high school. And he would have been drafted coming out of high school, but a lot of teams know that he was heavily recruited for football, and he was leaning towards football, even though he did so great in baseball that he really wasn't that much interested in baseball. So a team didn't want to take a chance, and draft him, and he go on ahead and go to football. That's just a waste of a pick. But scouts say he could have been a second rounder. Even earlier than that, it could have been a first rounder if he devoted to baseball, and they knew for sure he was going to baseball. There was a lot of players that does great in both sports, but due to you really needing to choose one and focus on one, it kind of offsets the other sport that you're going to neglect. So he goes away from baseball, but he's been able to dominate at the last level he was in. So his first game, he comes up today. He does finish 1 for 6, but he does end up hitting a home run his very first plate appearance. And there's feedback from professionals. Gary Sheffield was saying that he has true talent of being able to be successful. He has a pure swing. He's able to hit the ball. He's able to field really well. Obviously, his leadership is no question. His speed is no question. He's got great speed. He's a great athlete. The thing that makes everything difficult in baseball is being able to hit off speed or breaking ball pitches, because they'll say when you get to AA or AAA, anybody can hit a 95 mile an hour fastball. It's being able to throw that backdoor slider on a fastball count and the hitter being able to be successful 3 times out of 10 that is really going to make the difference between a AA or a major league player. And according to the sources, they saying he has the ability to do that. So I'm pulling for him. I'm hoping he continues to go on ahead and has success. Will he be in the majors one day? Who knows? Obviously, he took a long time away from baseball. A long, long time. And baseball is a very difficult sport. Baseball is one of the toughest sports a sport in general. Let me not just say that. A sport in general is very difficult to get pro in. You look at the NBA, you look at the NFL, you look at the MLS, any pro sport you want. You got to figure, there's less than 1,000 people. Well, let's not say soccer, because soccer has, 600 leagues and stuff like that. But, you take the NFL, there's 55 players a team. There's 55 players a team, right? Excluding, practice squad and all that. Your main NFL roster, 55 players a team. And there's 30 players, right? So let's just go on ahead and do the quick math on that. When I say quick math, I mean I'm going to pull out my calculator, and we're going to go on ahead and add this up. So 55 players a team times 32 NFL teams. That's 1,800 players, 1,760. 18,000 players. How many people in the United States would love to become a professional football player? Just think of the odds of you becoming a professional football player. Out of 1,800, there's millions of people playing football each and every single day, wanting to go to college, wanting to go to the NFL. Very difficult. Slim to none. Damn near impossible. Does he have the opportunity to do it? We don't know, because when he last left off, he was extremely successful back in high school. Now, the thing is, he took a long time away from baseball, so it's probably going to take him a little while to get back into rhythm. He's still young. He's still young. He's 29. He just turned 29 back in August. So he's still young. By no means is this is not CM Punk going to the UFC, giving it a shot at a sport that's extremely difficult, at a sport where you're not going to be able to learn in just a few years, at a sport where, it takes a really, really, really long time to go on ahead and try and be successful. He's young. He can put in 3, 4, 5 years of getting back in the groove of getting to where he once was, and still make the majors at 34, 35. Not impossible, and you definitely have to think that there's a lot of people that all the controversy started with, it's unfair, right? Because he's a public figure, he automatically gets a spot right into a team, right? There was a lot of teams that wanted him, obviously, because he's an attraction. He's gonna sell tickets to whatever league he goes to, right? And let's say you're on this AA team, and let's say you've been there 2-3 years. Let's say you've that's your life, that's your everyday, that's your job. You're trying hard to make it to the majors, and here comes Tebow, doesn't put his time in as you did the past few years, and automatically gets the starting spot on the roster. And you're like, hold up, I've been here, I've been doing this. Why does he hasn't touched the bat in years? All of a sudden, he just comes in and he starts. He's starting over somebody who's been doing this for years. But you have to remember, this man was a juggernaut of an all-star. This man was incredible back when he was actually playing baseball. So I think the Mets are trying to catch lightning in a bottle here to see if somehow this high school juggernaut could potentially grow into something here. I'm rooting for him, and I'm definitely hoping he makes the majors. Last thing you want to do is just be a hater to somebody chasing their dream. I remember back when I started doing YouTube, right? This is like 2011. And at this time, it was extremely difficult now you don't even need a partnership anymore. You can just monetize videos and make money. Back then, no, you needed a partnership. You needed a company to feel like they can make revenue off of you. You couldn't have 1,000 subscribers and apply and think you're going to get a partnership back then. You couldn't have 4,000 or 5,000 subscribers and get a partnership then. You would just get denied. You needed more viewership. And my son was about to be born, and I wanted to go on ahead and not about to be born. I mean, he was already born, but he was young. He was young. And one thing I wanted to do was continue to do YouTube. I didn't want to give up. I didn't want to be told. And I remember applying for partnership. I still have that email to this day of me applying to Machinima and me getting denied back whenever I sent the email. I still have that email of me getting rejected. And I kept that as motivation. I kept that as something I can go back to and remember that they thought I wasn't good enough. They thought I couldn't, at that point in time, they didn't see that I would have been able to grow this into something. They looked, and unfortunately, your viewer base is too small. You need to gain more subscribers. You need to gain more views. And clearly, I needed to prove to them that I was a safe bet, not somebody that they can pay and believe that my work is going to grow. And it was devastating. I thought I was doing well. Next thing you know, I go on ahead and I get rejected, and I didn't use that as anything but motivation. It made me want to work harder to become a YouTuber. And I remember, there was days I didn't have a car back then, so I would get out of work at about 11 p.m. I wouldn't get home to about 11:45, sometimes midnight. I would have to be into work 5 a.m. for truck the next day. What I would do is I would come home, play a game, edit, do all that stuff, no sleep, That way, when I came home, that video was ready to go up and post. Back then, I had a Dazzle that records in 480p. My computer only had 7 gigabytes of full space. I could not run no huddle during that game because the file size would exceed the space that my computer had, and there were several times where I was in the fourth quarter out of space, and the whole game would just cancel, and I was out a game. My computer took 45 minutes to export the video into my editing software. It took me about an hour to edit the video, and it took about 2 hours to render. Many, many times I fell asleep at night in that editing chair, waking up, just seeing that it was 45% done, going back to sleep in that chair, refusing to give up on the dream that I had on being able to stay home and play video games for a living. I've been playing games as a child. You know, a lot of people think that this was, easy. No, it took a lot of work, a lot of dedication. A lot of times of people want to go like, nah, I'm good, man. I just want to go on. You playing video games? You upload it. Let's go out, man. Like, it's been a while. Let's go out. Listen, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I'm not going to let, nothing get in the way of where I want to be. And I just hope Tebow goes on ahead and can be successful at, his baseball career. A lot of inspiration. He's inspiration to a lot of people out here in the world. And hopefully that can continue. Moving on forward, I'd love to discuss what's happening with the school shooting that happened today in South Carolina, which is absolutely flat out disgusting. So apparently I go on Twitter and I see that South Carolina is trending. And I click on South Carolina wondering, why? Why is it trending? South Carolina school shooting. 2 children injured and 1 suspect. Hold on. I just clicked on the website just so I can I don't want to, paraphrase and be wrong here. South Carolina school shooting. 2 children, 1 teacher wounded. Suspect's father's dead. So 2 children and teacher were shot by a gunman at an elementary school in Townville, South Carolina. An official with Anderson County Emergency Services told reporters Wednesday afternoon. The suspected shooter, a teenager, is in custody. A child shooting children. Disgusting. The father of the suspected shooter was found dead Wednesday afternoon of a gunshot wound. Anderson County Coroner Greg Stone told reporters his household is about 2 miles from school. The 3 victims at the school were struck by bullets from a handgun. Captain Garland Major of the Anderson County Sheriff Office said. 1 male student was hit in the leg. Another boy was struck in the foot. The female teacher was wounded in the shoulder, Major said. It is unclear whether the alleged shooter knew any of the school victims, Major said, but the motive is unclear, but terrorism has been ruled out. The teacher and 1 student taken to an Med Health Center are in good condition, hospital spokesman Ross Norton told CNN. The other child was taken to Greenville Health System Emergency Trauma Center by helicopter, spokesman Sandy D said. The student's condition was not known. Praying that child is healthy and, will be okay. The mother of a student at Townville Elementary told CNN Greenville affiliate WYFF that her daughter and classmates huddled in a bathroom. Her teacher was shaken up. I know all the kids were scared. There were a bunch of kids crying. The unidentified woman said she didn't talk for about 5 minutes when I got her. I'm just scared. I don't even want to go to school now. To think that see this right here, like I already feel my eyes watering up, getting emotional, just getting ready to talk about this. As a father, right? As somebody that would take a bullet for my son, as somebody that would die with no hesitation for my son, as somebody that would just do anything not to have a hair pull off of his son's head. Reading things like this is flat out heartbreaking and disgusting. You have a teenager shooting kids. Now, I don't want any school to be shot, right? Don't get it wrong where it's okay, so you think it's okay for a college campus to get shot? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I don't find it right for any innocent life to be taken. But don't target children. That is the worst thing you can do. Who remembers the Sandy Hook shooting? Right, that right there was one of the worst shootings I've ever, was able to read about. The school was, and what made it worse that it was in Connecticut. I live in Connecticut. I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And to find out that this happened, now this happened back in 2011, 2012. And to find out that the person fatally shot 20 children between the age of 6 and 7, as well as 6 staff members. 20 kids doing nothing wrong, going to school. I send my son to school. I feel like he's in a safe place. I feel like I don't have anything to worry about. I feel like my child is protected, and my child is going to go ahead and get an education. I'm not thinking, I'm not going to come back home after putting him on the bus and say, Lord, please don't let there be a shooting at his school. Why is that a thing? Kids. Thankfully, again, hopefully nobody was there were no fatalities. But to read something like that it's heartbreaking. As a parent, you don't want to hear anything about kids. You just don't. You don't want anything to hear anything going wrong with kids or anything like that, So heart goes out to, that entire situation, man. Hopefully, the few victims were, just injured, something that they can, be okay from, because, something like this, like how do you even send your kid back to school after something like that happens? There's a shooting at your school. How confident are you that you just want to, send your kid to school after somebody brought a gun into your school and started attacking children? It's just, I don't know what's going on with this world, man. The world is becoming an uglier place to each and every single day. The news is getting more and more and more frightening. They're shooting at schools, churches, movie theaters. It's crazy to know that you can't even leave your house. You can't leave your house without somebody being an idiot and wanting to take innocent lives. It's just a horrible situation and something that I hope isn't a continuing thing, because these shootings are just terrible, man. I hate with a passion reading innocent lives being taken. Whoever these people are, these gunmen, they're ruining lives forever. Not only the person that they murdered, the person that they took away, you're damaging families and so many people forever. God forbid somebody, takes away one of your cousins or uncles or children, whatever. It's like that entire family is impacted. And people, they just don't care. They just want to go on and send a message and go on ahead and just start taking innocent lives, and it's crazy, man. I don't know what the world is coming to, but this isn't a world I feel comfortable in, man. It's not a world I feel safe in. It's just crazy, man. And just, God willing, these kids are fine. The teacher is okay. And there's no idiot that's going to go out there and harm little kids. Because that is disgusting, man. Again, I hate innocent lives being taken no matter where it's at. But you don't mess with kids, man. You don't target little children. You don't target little innocent kids. That is just disgusting. We're going to end this talking about what happened with Serena Williams today. She was trending on Twitter earlier, and she had a post on Facebook, and she also had a tweet about "won't be silent about police violence." You guys know there's A lot of controversy going around. We all know the Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand up during the national anthem and him wanting to start a movement basically saying this is not a country that right now I feel I can support. And, how are we a country? How are we supposed to be, quote unquote, united if we're out here killing each other? We're out here witnessing fatalities and cops killing people in cold blood, and there's riots and all this other stuff. So that kind of just brought it to the front page more than ever. It was already talked about a lot. But now, once Kaepernick started and once we found out his reasoning, then it just went to a whole completely another level with other athletes joining in and wanting to send out a message that we are far from being united. And you take a look at what Serena Williams had said, and I have the article here. In an emotional Facebook post that referenced the controversial shooting death of Philandro Castillo, sorry if I pronounced that name wrong, in Minnesota at the hands of law enforcement, William wrote, "I am a total believer that not, quote, in air quotes, everyone is bad. It's just the ones that are ignorant, afraid, uneducated, and insensitive that this is affecting millions and millions of lives. Why do I have to think about this in 2016? Have we not gone through enough? Opened so many doors? Impacted billions of lives?" After describing her fears for the safety of her teenage nephew of her own, soul-searching about why she hasn't been outspoken herself, Williams quoted Dr. Martin Luther King saying, "There comes a time when silence is betrayal." So she had a, let me see, is this going to send me straight to the Facebook post? There was a link there. Okay, it does. Okay, so this is what had started everything. So today I asked my 18-year-old nephew, to be clear, he's black, to drive me to my meeting so I can work on my phone. Hashtag safety first. In the distance, I saw a cop on the side of the road. I quickly checked to see if he was obliging by the speed limit. Then I remember that horrible video of a woman in the car when a cop shot her boyfriend. All of this went through my mind in a matter of seconds. I even regretted not driving myself. I would never forgive myself if something happened to my nephew. He's so innocent. So are all, quote, air quotes, the others. I am a total believer in that everyone is not bad, just the one affecting millions of... Okay, we read that before. Why did I not think about this in 2016? But I realized... Why did I have to think about this in 2016? Have we not gone through enough? Open many doors, impacted billions of lives. But I realized we must stride on, for it's not how far we have come, but how much further still we have to go. I then wondered that, have I spoken up? I had to take a look at me. What about my nephews? What if I have a son, and what about my daughters? As Dr. Martin Luther King said, there comes a time where silence is betrayal. I won't be silent. And she's basically speaking up about all the cop shootings and what's been happening. Now, obviously, there's some that are just... Now, the one in Minnesota, I believe she's talking about, was the man was shot by the female officer. Again, if I'm wrong, excuse me, but I believe that's the one she's talking about, where the guy had his hands up and was fatally shot and ended up dying. There was also a story where there was a video going out where a guy was on the ground, had his hands up because one of his patients was, I forgot, I believe he had autism or something like that. And, the guy had his hands up on his back and ended up getting shot. And they asked the officer, why did he get shot? And the officer said, I don't know. Now, it's obviously a touchy subject, right? You're sitting here, you're talking about, Black Lives Matter, and, some people are opposed to that. It's a very touchy subject. Do Black Lives matter? Absolutely. Do all lives matter? Absolutely. There's nothing you can say where you're going to be 100% politically correct to where everybody agrees with you, and it's a touchy subject. I get it. One thing is that it goes on both sides, right? It goes on both sides. We, the public, see videos of unarmed, innocent people being murdered by the police. And we don't see all of the shootings of a routine traffic stop and somebody being shot, a cop losing his life, or for whatever reason, these routine stops and people cops are being killed and shot at. All they know is that there are riots that are happening. right now, it doesn't help that there's riots where there's shootings that happen. Wasn't there like a shooting in Texas where like 3 cops got killed or something like that? That doesn't help. That's just going to make the cops even more fearful. If I'm a cop and I see that, I know what everybody's thinking about us now. Now everybody hates us. Now everybody's afraid for their life. Now everybody thinks that, we're here to take people's lives and stuff like that. So, they now have to, now that I even think they're more defensive than they were before. Still not right. Still don't mean you pull out a gun on somebody unless you feel like your life is threatened. But, still, it's just very ugly situation that seems to continue to keep happening, where these innocent these innocent people are being murdered. Now, are all cops bad? Absolutely not. That would be a very dumb statement to make. Cops are here to protect and serve us. They're here to help us away from the bad guys. And let's be honest, man. Somebody breaks into your house, something like, who are you going to call? You're going to call the cops. Something, happens. Who are you going to call? You're going to call the police. And that's how it should be. As she was basically saying is, Serena didn't feel safe. She saw a cop, and then the first thing she thinks of was of a video of an innocent man being shot because he was asked for his ID. And he goes to reach in his back pocket and he gets shot and he ends up dying right there in front of the officer. That's the first thing that comes to her mind. People don't feel safe around cops anymore, and that's a bad thing. It's horrible to where, as she was saying, sometimes silence is the worst betrayal. Like she feels like, she has a big platform to where if she says something, millions of people are going to be able to see it. And her not speaking up about it isn't helping the situation, basically. So, and it was a problem that's the first thing she thought about. When you see a cop, first thing you think about should not be, I wonder if he's passing the speed limit. I don't want the cop to stop us. I don't want the cop to, ask for ID and just take his gun out because he feels like we're reaching for something when you literally asked me to reach for something. And it's just a very big, crazy situation. I wish that, none of this stuff happened. Again, I don't like innocent lives being taken, whether it's a cop or a civilian. I don't want to hear about a cop who's going out there risking his life each and every single day, leaving his family, knowing that it's already a possibility of him not returning home because of all the bad guys out there. Bad guys that are out there that are thieves and, robbing and killing and murdering and selling drugs. And, his job is to literally keep those people off the street. And he's literally risking his life. My job is I upload videos. There's no danger risk to my life. I'm not punching in and saying, God, please help me return home safely. Every day, cops go through that. Each and every single time they're on the clock, they're risking their life. Their life. Let that sink in. They are risking their life. Same with firefighters. A doctor really isn't risking his own life. A plumber isn't really risking his life. Cops, firefighters, they are risking their life to go to work, to protect us. And I don't want to hear about, some punk drug addict who's going to go on ahead and, get get stopped by a cop. And because he has a warrant, he's just going to just unload on the officer. Next thing you know, the officer's dead. I don't want to hear about that. But I also don't want to hear about, a cop who's going to go on ahead and kill innocent people. You don't want to hear about that either. You don't want to hear about situations where a man is selling CDs on a corner and, next thing you know, you shoot the man, or a man is selling Lucy cigarettes outside a corner store and next thing you know, you put him in a headlock to where he physically can't breathe and he's telling you and you still don't let go and the man loses his life. You don't want to hear about that stuff either. But unfortunately in this world, the racism exists. it exists. There was a video out on the Joe Rogan podcast to where he was talking to a police officer who worked in Baltimore. And he was telling the story of how the lieutenant or whoever runs, that department, lieutenant, captain, whatever rank they are, I'm not sure, of how they told him to specifically target the black community. He's like, we have a quota of certain amount of tickets and arrests we have to meet. If you're working in a good area, then how are you supposed to get those tickets? How are you supposed to get those arrests if you're in a good neighborhood where nothing happens? And there's good neighborhoods where crime is minimal. Those places exist. So he was telling Joe Rogan that, matter of fact, I'm going to link the video in the description. Crazy interview that you guys want to check out. And he made a lot of points. He's like, what happens is we're targeted and we're looking for these things. We go to the black communities targeting for somebody who has that nickel bag on them, so we can go on ahead and arrest them. And what happens is their life is now impacted. He's now going to jail for, a small nickel bag when there's so much more going out, or dime bag, whatever example he used. And, now all of a sudden he has his license revoked. Now all of a sudden he can't get to his job, or now he can't even go look for a job because he doesn't have his license, or, his license is suspended and stuff like that. So it's like we're forcing these people, putting them in situations to where nothing but drugs is left. I'm paraphrasing here. I'm sure I'm wrong, but link of that video will be in the description. You definitely want to check that out. It opened up a lot of eyes to hear an actual officer be told to specifically look for minorities. And me being a minority myself, I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I live in quote unquote the hood. I'm part of the minority. It's mainly blacks and Hispanics where I'm from. So, being part of the minority community, it's a little frightening knowing that somebody's going to specifically target you just off of race, just off of where you live, which is crazy, man. But nonetheless, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'm gonna try to do these nightly, just talk about random events in the world and also sports. So let me know if you guys enjoy it, man. If you guys enjoy it, I'll definitely keep these up. I have no time taking 30 45 minutes up my day just to have a conversation with you guys, man. Matter of fact, I think that's our motto. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Until tomorrow, guys, let's have a conversation.